interpersonal characteristics such as an unusually high level of charisma ever reared its head. This made it clear to me that much like every other function in business, sales leadership is much less art and much more science. It's a process, and as such has recognizable variables that, when managed and controlled for appropriately, produce consistent results. Over the last decade, I've spent a large portion of my professional time learning about these variables from more than a dozen experts and consultants. I've even been personally trained and certified in well-known selling methodologies, including Miller-Heiman's strategic selling and SPIN, S-P-I-N, to further develop my own selling and sales management skills. It has been time well spent. My company's results have always spoken for themselves. This is how I originally came across Jonathan Whistman and his Sales Boss framework. Based on the results we achieved, Jonathan has trained several of our teams, and his company evaluates all of our employees before they are hired. So I was delighted to read the book that inspired this audiobook, as no doubt the audiobook provides listeners with a framework to recognize all of the key variables that I've identified over the years as being, quote-unquote, the difference that makes a difference. It offers great potential to progressive organizations and individuals who are listeners and learners, not sandbaggers. I have used its concepts at every one of my companies, and they work. Most importantly, however, the framework elegantly highlights the fact that selling is not a standalone process. To borrow from Churchill, it only represents the end of the beginning. I encourage you to listen with an open mind and be ready for the transformation into a sales boss. Ruben Salinas, President and CEO, Parsegan Diagnostics Incorporated. Introduction. If you have ever been on the inside of a top-performing sales team, you know it can look like magic to an outsider. The revenue piles up in what seems like an effortless process. Everyone, vendors, suppliers, marketing prospects, customers, management, and the sales team, is entwined in an elegant dance, the result of which is increasing revenue. The truth is, it only looks magical. It is the result of a carefully orchestrated plan. My belief is that at the center of that successful plan is the sales manager. If the company is underperforming, it is always the sales manager. Unfortunately, the opposite isn't always the truth. If a company is performing well, it's not always the result of the sales manager. I know this seems like a harsh view. If you are the sales manager, you get the blame when things go wrong and only partial credit when things go well. I'd suggest you get used to it, as that's the reality in every company, and if you're to succeed, you must be up to this challenge. You must believe that if things are not going right, you and only you are to blame. You are to blame if the marketing department isn't getting the message out correctly in the right places or with the right tone. It's your fault. If the customer service department is failing to deliver great service and your company's reputation is suffering as a result, it's your fault. If your company's product is out of date and not meeting the current needs of the market, it's your fault. If your company doesn't pay enough to be competitive, it's your fault. If your company isn't, insert anything here, it's your fault. The power of taking full responsibility for your company's results cannot be understated. It's critical. If you can't adopt this mindset, save everyone a bit of trouble and get out while you still can. You'll never deliver results at the highest level. There are much easier ways to make a living than managing a sales team. The rewards are great, but so is the task at hand. In fact, I call the sales manager operating at the highest level the sales boss. The boss isn't content to manage. The boss gets results. In this audiobook, you'll find the real secrets to hiring, managing, and training a sales team. Chapter 1. The Work of a Sales Boss. A sales boss's job is to deliver revenue that sufficiently and meaningfully exceeds the cost of delivering that revenue. If you want to be a sales boss, you must learn the art of getting the best results through other people. Sometimes these people will be directly on your team, but in many cases, they will exist in other areas of the company, such as marketing, customer service, finance, and product development. Your success hinges on the ability to control and influence all of these spheres, as all of them.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.